Just about the time we went on the air this morning, and this is a police shooting that happened in Minnesota, and a woman and man were driving with the woman's young daughter. The victim's name is Philando Castley. His mother Valerie told CNN that they were stopped because of a taillight that was out. The man was carrying a weapon. He said he had a permit, a concealed permit. He told the police officer, according to the woman, and we don't know what happened prior to when she started live streaming this, but the girlfriend, who I'm referring to as the woman, began live streaming on Facebook. And this is unprecedented video, like we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. There's a couple of things in addition to what she's saying to listen to. One, you will hear the police officer crying and yelling. I told him not to move, or I told him not to reach. The other thing is apparently the guy dies mid-video here.
And then the video, you can see where he was shot in the chest. He's bleeding profusely. And then there's the little girl that was in the car during the shooting. And then they're in the police car, and she speaks to her mom, which is just heart-wrenching. But listen to this, and listen, I don't, these things I just seem to have to stop. But I don't know who's at fault, and we have to be careful because the only thing we're watching is well after the shooting. That's when she began live streaming. The police officer did not have a body camera, so we do not know what led up to, except for what the police officer is saying. I told him not to reach, and he reached, and that's when I shot him. So listen in. You'll hear the police officer and the woman who's the girlfriend. You'll also hear the man moaning in the background as he's literally dying before our very eyes here.
We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back, and the police, he's covered. He killed my friend. He's licensed. He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will.
That's the police officer talking.
He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand.
Okay, that's the police officer. I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hands up. The police officer is noticeably crying, and he's pointing a weapon into the gun into the car as he's speaking here. But the trauma that the police officer, I'm not trying to by any means minimize what's happened here, but every party in this has been affected, right down to the little girl. Listen to the police officer.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone. Please, officer, don't tell me that you just did this to him. You shot 4 bullets into him, sir. He was just getting his license and registration, sir.
Get the female passenger out.
Man, exit the car right now with your hands up. Let me see your hands. Exit now. Keep them up. Keep them up.
Where's my daughter? You got my daughter?
Face away from me and walk backwards. Walk backwards towards me. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Get on your knees. Get on your knees. Man, you're just being detained right now.
Wow. That is, now people are saying, Rob is saying, don't rush to judgment. No one's rushing to judgment. This just has to come to a stop. I'm not saying who is at fault. It's a very difficult position for a police officer when you're stopping a vehicle and then someone reaches. And if he indeed did say, don't reach, And he did. I don't know what procedure is for a police officer at that point. Additionally, the woman says that her boyfriend told the police officer that he had a weapon, that he had a permit to carry. This was a man, somebody has asked, is this death by suicide? I don't believe it is. So. This is a man that has no criminal record whatsoever, as far as we know, as the details are coming out, and employed. He worked at a school, and he obviously had a clean enough record to have a concealed permit. So I don't think anybody's rushing to judgment. There's trauma for every single person involved here, including the police officer.
So in watching that video and seeing her response to finally his passing, it was a little alarming.
A little cold.
Yeah.
It was tough to...
Almost like she had... And I've never seen anybody that I loved or cared about die in front of me, especially in that manner. But she seems like, okay, is he really gone? Is it like it was just kind of like she didn't?
Well,
maybe she didn't think that he would pass from that injury.
In the same way you can't pass judgment on the police officer at this point, you cannot pass judgment on the woman. For a trauma like this, I could only imagine you go into shock, and for her. It does seem like, boy, she only cared about getting that video out, but at the same time...
Maybe that was her way of thinking.
I don't know.
Maybe this is the only way that we'll get resolution to this. And
I don't know.
I actually did think the same thing, although I'm thinking it's probably a good thing she wasn't overcome with emotion and start screaming and flailing around in the vehicle. That's probably better that she didn't do that, because who knows what could have happened, but... I did think the same thing, but again, you never know. Like you said, Bill, she's probably in shock.
You don't, I don't think we can surmise what she's going through at this point. At the same time, you can't for the police officer. You do have to wonder about this little 4-year-old girl that's in the car for all of it, and here's some of that audio.
Okay. Come here, Dada. Okay.
Is that your fault?
Okay, the audio's stopping now. Anyway, at one point the little girl says, "Mommy, I'm here for you." It's a terrible piece of audio to listen to. But this happened about 9 p.m. last night in Minnesota. Very difficult to watch, and very difficult to understand what really happened. We'll come back and talk about it and take your calls if you like. 736-0186, 750 at WIBX.